Listen up, get ready, I'm not gonna take no more. There's a revolution, a revelation going on in my soul. Buckle up, get ready, we're not gonna say.
Citizens of the world, welcome back to Live from the Heartland for the week of February 27th, the year 2026. And we did have a little sports report earlier when I talked about the White Sox beating the Cubs in the first game of the Cactus League. We talked about the Bulls trading up some of my favorite players and not doing so well. And we, of course, are laying the groundwork for a lot of discussion around the Bears and their threats to move to Indiana rather than somewhere in Illinois. So some of you who may have turned in late missed that, so I repeated it. And now we're going to do our regular sports report. One of our two great sports reporters, the other being Adam James. This one is the one and only Gordon Thomson. And we're going to talk a little bit about an honor coming in Gordon's way toward the end. But first, we've watched the Olympics on TV. Now, Gordon has let me know that he is not on social media, so he doesn't have all of the debate going back and forth and discussion about hockey players and what they did and all the kind of, rah-rah for the U.S. So I'm going to start off by asking my good pal, Gordon. Gordon, what are some of the highlights of this recent Winter Olympics for you?
Hey, you know what? The Olympics are always, they come around once every 4 years, so it's not an annual thing. And so it's a big 4-year preparation for these athletes and various nations. And as you just said, I'm not in on social media, so I don't know what the big flamboyant discussions are. I do know that the hockey team came in on President's State of the Union address and probably was very nice, and everybody, probably Democrats and Republicans, really probably like that. So, yeah, one thing about the Olympics, it's a unifying experience for a country. It's everybody coming together, and really we're all just one. But I don't like even focusing on nations. I like focusing on the individuals at these games, regardless of which nation they come from. So the highlight for me, many highlights. Right off the bat, the downhill skiing is the most dramatic skiing event. They basically are covering half of a mountainside. It is long. It's the longest of all races and most dangerous. And right off the bat, we had America had Breezy Johnson. What a name for a downhill skier, Breezy with a Z. So she won it. But she wasn't predicted to win it. Maybe another U.S. athlete of Lindsey Vonn and Michaela Schifrin were getting a lot more press. But Breezy stole the show and just with unabandoned, no mistakes and no falls, just flew down that mountain twice and had the best aggregate time. Awesome job. I really liked cross-country skiing. I don't know if it's the endurance athlete in me or what, that cross-country skiing and biathlon to me are the most intriguing sports. Well, we had a unbelievable result in Jesse Diggins, a U.S. athlete from Vermont, right around the corner from the previous Olympic medalist from the United States, all the way back in 1976, Bill Koch. So same area, must be good weather, good maple syrup around that parts because they're putting out some good. Well, the interesting thing about Jessie Diggins is she had a fall, not during the race, but a couple days beforehand, and she busted a couple of ribs or highly bruised several ribs. I don't know if you've ever bruised ribs, but every breath you take, you feel it. And every motion you make, you feel it. And it is really painful. A cough or a sneeze sends you through the roof. So she had a bunch of bruised ribs and got a bronze medal in the 10K cross-country skiing and was, after the finish, laying on the ground, just screaming in agony. But that was part of the deal. So it was mind over matter. Way to go, Jessie Diggins. But also in cross-country skiing, to me, the highlight was the dominant male of Klæbo from Denmark, who won everything in cross-country skiing, 6 gold medals. So not just the relays, but all the individual events. And he's really, I mean, if you see a picture of him, it looks like a blonde Adonis, just really super built, super tall. Looks like a country hero from Denmark. Like everybody in Denmark would just love this guy. So really dramatic, really super strong. And the thing that separated this guy from the other phenomenal athletes are RPMs. The amount of footsteps he put down within a minute, different from everybody else. His RPM going up the mountain was up, 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 up. Everybody else was up, 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 up with those ski strokes. So, hey, man, RPMs is the way to do it. Lance Armstrong figured that out on the bike. Usain Bolt figured that out on the track. And now Klæbo has figured it out with cross-country skiing. Turnover, rapid turnover. Get it going. That's beats stride length.
Let me jump in. And you had talked about how you really like the individuals. One of the things that always makes me a little crazy is how much NBC, which I thought did a pretty good job. I really liked watching the hockey up close, the camera work. And I think they were pretty good with everything, but there's a lot of nationalism. And given that a week earlier from this show, or a couple of weeks, we talked about the Gordie Howe Bridge between Windsor and Detroit. And I got to admit, the way Trump's been talking about Canada, I was rooting for Canada in some of the events. And so anyhow, the hockey games were great to watch. The women's hockey was something else. A number of them are from Illinois. The captain of the team is from Lake Forest, where I went to college. And with all that said, let's go back to your favorite things. What about the opening and the closing ceremonies?
Let's go back to the hockey real quick.
Okay.
Hey, Canada had every chance to win.
They did.
They had unbelievable chances to win that game. And you know what the beautiful thing about that gold medal game was? It was really hard fought. Neither team of Canada or U.S. was laying down on the job. It was hard hitting. Those Canadian hockey players were just jamming on. And I thought it was like unbelievable that Canada didn't pick up more goals. Like I was thinking it was going to be 10-2 with the number of shots on goal. It was
they were close. Some of them were really just missed by a bit.
Unbelievable. And that's probably the luck of the game. And but that one score in regular time of U.S., I can't remember, the guy who flipped the puck up in the air and basically danced it on his hockey stick and had it airborne and just was trickling it down the ice. That was magical. That was I had never seen anything like that, but it was phenomenal. Hard-hitting game, really into it. Any team, any country could have won that game and been really proud of their effort.
Right.
Yeah. So
they all play together, on different teams. So they're in a league together and they're all back with their teams. I think it starts up tonight.
I love it how Heilebuck is, a Winnipeg Jagger, playing in Canada, or the USA goalie, who was just the star of the show. Really, it was just phenomenal. That was really something. Okay, opening and closing ceremonies. I got spoiled with Paris, France. That opening and closing was so entertaining. And it was really just got you jacked up for the actual games itself at Paris. And
you're talking about the last Olympics?
Yeah, I'm talking about the 2024 Olympics at outdoors, or the summer games in Paris. Yeah. These opening and closing was super artistic, boring with a capital B. They brought in all the Italian greats and all the, the artisans and phenomenal composers and stuff. But those aren't contemporary dudes, and really kind of got lost in really the athletic and super intense athletic buildup. So, yeah, I didn't think it was such a good the opening and closing.
One of the things that I heard I think I watched Pardon the Interruption a lot with Cornforth and Wilbon. And these older guys, they're not as old as me. They're older than you. But one of the things I think it was Cornforth was talking about was kind of watching the games in fear of the fall. Or that's the way I'm putting it. You think the skaters are going to fall, the people who are flipping over, and then one guy did hit the edge in that tunnel thing. You don't have that in the Summer Olympics. I mean, someone may fall, may trip, that kind of thing, but this is all just fear that something's going to happen, and you're kind of waiting for that. I don't know if that's true of you or me, but I worry about the athletes, and then I'm so glad when nothing happens.
Well, it's really very, very true in skiing. Like all those falls can be catastrophic. And Lindsey Vonn, with her fall right out of the gate, and just she was basically just setting herself up for failure by even competing. But got to give her hats off to her for giving it a shot. But yeah, I would say that's true. But how about the pride of excellence? How about instead of fear of the fall, of like the striving for perfection that people do left and right and do come through every single event? Somebody is coming through uptime. They're not fearing the fall. They're getting jacked up to have the race of their lifetime, regardless of what it is, what event. And I like to focus on that. Instead of being worrisome, how about being optimistic and say, what are my chances? And that's exactly why our great figure skater, Ilya Malinin, went down in his final. He was mentally already thinking of the future. He wasn't in the present when he skated that. He was already thinking about what was media thing, what the commercials, what he was going to get, the number of dollars that was going to represent his great gold medal performance that never came. And he fell twice in his final, or even more, and it was a sloppy. He was not the quad god in that final, but how he mentally handled it afterwards, superb. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that because I thought he was very principled. I felt a lot of warmth toward him after he had, taken those falls.
It was rough to watch. It was like, your heart was in your throat. You wanted him to come through and come through on all his verbiage of being the quad gob. He loved the attention, but already in his mind, you could see it that he was laying it out, what was going to happen. And he was not in the present tense. He was not skating just for the joy of it, which is what the woman winner was doing. The female figure skater that won the gold medal right from Oakland, California. What's her name? Alyssa Liu. Yeah. Alyssa from Oakland, and she had quit the sport in right after after a previous Olympics at age 16, saying too much pressure. I went out, so she gave herself.
Get rid of her dad as a coach. Get rid of her dad.
Probably the best move ever is to get rid of her dad as the coach. That rarely works out well, but. The Kleibo, the cross-country skiers, got his grandpa for a coach, so skipping a generation might be a little bit better. But the women's winner, she just skated for joy. She skated just to have fun. She'd already been through the pressure cooker and already decided that wasn't for her. So how is she going to make it? Make it fun. And I tell you, there's something in the water in Oakland, California. That young lady reminds me so much of my niece, also from Oakland, California, a little rock and roller in the Sour Widows band, recent European tour. But she's got the exact same attitude. She wants to just have fun. If you got a problem with how she looks or how she dresses or whatever, that's your problem. She's totally comfortable in her own skin, and so is Alyssa Liu, totally comfortable in her own skin. And how she treated the other skaters that were under the pressure was fantastic, imparting joy to that Japanese, little teenager, imparting joy to the other skaters. Have fun out there. It's easier said than done, but that's the ultimate goal of any performance, is just to enjoy yourself, be in the present.
She was great to watch, and she just emanated warmth and happiness. And I'm glad you gave a shout out to Oakland, because I still have my driver's license from 1964 at 5006 Telegraph Avenue in Oakland, California, when I was across from Burns Supermarket, when I was going to Berkeley back in my younger days.
You lived on Telegraph?
I did. I lived at 5006 Telegraph, and I went back at the 40th anniversary of the free speech movement or something and took a picture of the doorway. And I remember there was a blues club nearby. I saw little Junior Parker there. I liked Oakland a lot.
Oakland and Berkeley, two fantastic East Bay sites. Yeah. Blondie's Pizza was not there at the time when you were when you were living on Telegraph, but as another highlight of that in Berkeley.
Speaking of highlights, let's go to, let's give up on the Winter Olympics.
Wait 1 second on the Winter Olympics. Old people participating. I got a big problem with it. The Euro, the USA curler was 54 years old.
You mean the guy that took the heat from Trump?
I don't know what he took, but he took he's had many more pizzas than either you or I have had. And then there's these European snowboarders. They were all in their 40s, and they looked like they hadn't missed any pasta dinners. They had paunches, and they were big. They were fat. I'm like, how can you possibly compete? But they were unbelievably skilled in these snowboarding events. So
as you get older, you have to develop other attributes and things to get you through. Some of the things
I'm going to have to have
don't work
a
anymore.
few more cheeseburgers. Yeah. God dang. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the Olympics in LA. Are they going to happen with all of the U.S. immigration stuff and calls for them to be moved, or the World Cup? What do you got on these future events?
LA Olympics will happen. Unfortunately, we will have some visa problems for foreign athletes. We did have visa problems for the World Cross Country Championships this past January, so people couldn't get in the country that were ready and willing and able to compete at a high level. So I hope that doesn't happen, or if it happens at a very minimal level and it's not targeted on any particular country. We're living in dire times where sometimes common sense, there is none. So let's hope for the best. Let's have a positive attitude and try and conquer with positive thought and take care of it. So I hope that everything goes smooth. Evidently, there's going to be some snags. LA is billed as the non-car Olympics. So public transportation is going to take the forefront, and everybody's got to hop on a bus or hop on a train or hop on some sort of public transportation. Good thought. I hope they can pull it off in LA, where everybody just drives everywhere in their own personal car. So I'm hoping that it's smooth. It'll be great. They're going to use the Coliseum as the track complex that was first used in 1932 and then used in 1984. And this is great that they're going to repurpose the same original Olympic stadium, the Coliseum, that USC uses as their home football field. So pretty jacked about that. I'm pretty excited about World Cup soccer as well. Hopefully there won't be any problems. Hey, they're in all three countries. There's venues in Mexico, venues in U.S., and venues in Canada. So it's a North American host, not USA host on the World Cup.
Okay, now I got, I'm not sure how much time we have left, but this is something that's, I'm really happy for you and to be your friend. I understand that you are going to be inducted into the Loyola Athletic Hall of Fame on March 7th before a basketball game over there. What can you tell us about that, Gordon, and why have they chosen you?
Well, let me stick my chest out here a little bit. Just inflating, yeah. You know what? I got in the Athletic Hall of Fame because I recruited great kids, great student athletes. We had at Loyola and every school that I coached at, academics was at the forefront and character was at the forefront. But at Loyola, I concentrated on recruiting in the 312 area code and got some phenomenal results from just great people. I loved going to the Catholic League championship in indoor track and outdoor track on the South Side. And to hear like now schools that are no longer like Mendel Catholic, where the whole track team will be going blue, blue, blue smoke, blue, blue, blue smoke. That's what they were known as. Mendel Catholic was blue smoke. And I heard just the vibrancy and the atmosphere was fantastic. Hey, we had great teams at Loyola, many All-Americans, a lot of people showing up and doing great at the national championships in track and field. I'm very proud of having the first All-American for women at Loyola, Leanne Rank, in the 10,000 meters. She was the only woman on our team at that championships at Austin, Texas. And here's a Chicago girl running a distance race in Austin, Texas, hot as all get out and humid as all get out. Did she wilt and falter? No, she looked like she was born in that environment. So she had a great race, wonderful endurance athlete. So, but that was part and parcel of what went on year after year at my experience at Loyola. A lot of unsung heroes, Jason Rush, Kevin O'Hara, Terry Sheehan, Jose De Leon, Julie Keller, Steve Phillips, Kelly Ward, Reggie Williams, Mike Tenbush. Unbelievable names, characters, people. Everybody had a story. Everybody had great moms and dads. And that's who I recruited first, was the mom and dad, and especially grandmas. I loved grandmas and had success.
Well, you did some really good recruiting. You also recruited Andre Fambe and Eddie Slokowski and a whole bunch of other people. I did have the honor of chasing you guys around and seeing a number of these meets. And you and I have taken a few rides around the countryside, and we'll go to places like Pekin, and you know all the names of the places that you had recruited from the Pekin Ducks, I think they were called.
I'm sorry to correct you. It was the Chinks, the Pekin name. Oh, terrible name. Terrible. So
what did they turn it into?
They turned it into something a lot more user friendly.
Yeah, but you certainly knew your high schools around the state of Illinois and beyond. And you had some wonderful athletes, and it's great that you're getting inducted. So the deal is, there's a basketball game that day. Loyola is playing. I'm not sure who. Do you know who?
No.
Okay. And then after that, there's a party for you nearby. And I know from being on the internet that there's an awful lot of your former runners are showing up. They're coming from far and wide to honor you, Gordon Thomson. And we're glad to let everyone out here in radio listening land and viewing land for the Live from the Heartland show that our one of our sports reporters and good pals is getting inducted into the Loyola University Athletic Hall of Fame.
Right on.
Congratulations. And I know you're a humble guy, so just chill out and relax. And I'm going to embrace everything. I'm just hoping I can remember all the names of the people that don't embarrass myself, my lack of brain cells. But I'm really very excited about March the 7th. There's a reception at 1, games at later in the afternoon. I'm hoping that a lot of people come to the reception, and I love to see the people during the game and afterwards at the shindig. And hey, one of the best jobs I've ever had. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll be there. And I just recall when you were talking about all the athletes in LA taking the bus rather than driving their cars. I was in Cuba for the Pan American Games, and there were not a lot of cars. And I have photographs of the American athletes getting on a bus to go to the stadium. And I will see you later this week or next week. I'll be there. I do have a press pass to take photographs of you getting your award. And for all